Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm glad the tryptophan didn't get you and you made it out on the Monday after Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's the only joke I'm telling tonight. I'm sorry. My name is Cheyenne Gustafson. I'm a freelance writer who used to work at Backstage Magazine, and I have the pleasure of hosting events like this one. We have a great panel for you tonight. First off, we have an actor who's been in the business since he was 7. He's been in films like Without a Paddle, Party Monster, The Italian Job to Rat Race. He has his own show, Robot Chicken. He's been on Family Guy, and my personal favorite, Austin Powers. Please welcome Seth Green. Oh, wherever you want.
Hey, I'll sit next to you.
Oh.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, you came out first, so you can take over all the
pick
chairs.
of the chairs.
If you want. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Next, we have playing Warner on the show, a guy who's been in shows from Friends to My Name Is Earl. He was on Ted. He was in Saving Private Ryan, and he was even in Avatar. Please welcome Giovanni Ribisi.
Get sexy with me. All these people paid to see us see the affection between us. Is that true? Did anybody here pay? Yeah. Really? It's a totally free ticket, right?
Sorry.
I was gonna say they really need to get their money's worth, so there's a high bar here. Okay. All right. Next we have playing Veronica on the show, a Disney Channel star who is on all kinds of Disney Channel movies and TV shows, most notably The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. She's been in films since then, like The Social Network. Please welcome Brenda Song.
Oh, there's no real.
Hi. I feel like a pop singer.
You look like a pop singer.
All right, next we have...
That banter was great, guy.
Wasn't it?
Next we have an actor who's had a fantastic career. He's appeared in everything from Animal House to The Mask, movies like Traffic, shows like Family Guy, The Sopranos, Seinfeld, and even MASH. Please welcome Peter Riegert.
Should we make a circle? Like, make more of a semicircle? I feel really vulnerable with you behind me.
We did this setup so they can do bunny ears behind each other's heads the entire time. Next, we have another esteemed actor. He was on shows, early comedies like Fernwood Tonight, Mr. Mom, movies like Clue, shows like Arrested Development, 2.5 Men, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Please welcome Martin Mull.
Thanks. This is really close to a thrill. The gym looks great tonight, guys. Good work.
It's great the way they moved all the bleachers out of the way.
Yeah,
You can barely see the basketball
My
hoops.
favorite prom so far.
All right, and finally, we have playing the hilarious Edna on the show, an actress who's appeared in films like Seeking a Friend at the End of the World and Funny People and the TV show Go On. Please welcome Tonita Castro.
Do you want to switch? Honey, do you want the front chair?
Do you want to switch?
She's up.
Finally! Now I feel like a parrot.
All right.
We hate each other. You can see. It's so horrible going to work every day.
You can keep it there.
All right. Now we've got everybody up here, and I'm going to start with a question that could be an easy question unless you don't remember the answer, in which case...
Wait, except for Vanessa, who couldn't be here tonight,
Oh,
but
except
would
for...
have.
Yes,
She's in
I'm sorry, we're
Fiji
missing
getting
one.
tan.
Yeah, she just needs to work on that
Yeah,
tan, guys.
Have we
She
thanked
said
them for
SAG. Do I even know them? I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm just throwing her under the bus because she's not here. She's a delightful lady.
Does she have work?
Does she have work or did she get
Is she
work?
looking for work? Okay.
Oh, is she looking for work? No, she's got a job. She's on a TV show called DADS.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. I've been hearing really good things about
I
it.
spend a lot of time in my trailer. I don't know.
I understand. Either people really love it or they're rioting about it. One of the two. I can't get a clear picture from the media.
Okay.
Good answer.
Thanks.
You guys are funny. You should be comedians. All right.
You put mics in our
She's
hands.
so
I
pissed.
know. All right. So,
She said
actually,
sarcastically.
I don't have to ask questions. We can just... No. All right. Yeah, I'm going to try one and see how it goes. How did you first get your SAG cards? If you remember. If you don't remember, make it up. We won't know the difference.
I know this answer. Does everybody know this answer?
I think I did 2 episodes of MASH in 1977. Oh no. Yeah, I think it was that, or it was a movie called Coma. Or I was in a coma. I can't remember. One of those 2 jobs, I think. I'll go with that.
I got mine from a guy on the street. He had all the different unions, and they were like $40 each.
Did you get equity too?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. That was 20.
You were robbed.
I did a commercial. I was a little kid and I did a commercial.
Yeah, me
and
too.
and they let me join it
Mine was
because
a
of that.
commercial when I was like 6.
Do you remember what the commercial was?
I think it's Little Caesars.
Little
Little
Caesars.
Caesars. I think it's Little Caesars.
Did you have to say pizza, pizza?
No, I did the Running Man.
I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my days to finding that footage, Brenda.
What commercial was yours?
I did a RCA industrial for a John Denver record, and I was like, it was like stories. The record was all about stories, so the commercial was all people on a bus that represented each of the stories. And I was a little kid listening to his granddad tell a story. So for the audition, I had to go in, and they were like, "All right, we're telling you a story, and you just act really interested." And I was like, "I got this."
Nothing has changed.
Nailed it.
No, G and Seth were actually in a commercial together.
Both of us were like well established in our careers by the time we crossed paths.
Sort of.
We had already known each other
I don't
for.
know how well established you are if you're doing a Fruit Loops commercial.
You kidding, man? That's a national gig. They didn't even buy it out. That thing went cross regional. It was great.
With the haircut, man. God, I feel so awkward pulling this up to my face and talking into it. Sorry.
Mr. Ribisi, you can't comment.
What?
How do you
We hate each other.
My first commercial, I remember that one. It's I went over there because they says the principal got sick. And when I went over there, there's too many people, and the guy says, "You." And I said, "Me? You don't tell it." And I was there, ready, and they put me like a suit like chicken. They never saw my face, but I was so small, like the small guy. And I was doing like, chicken. And I remember that one.
I'm so glad you did.
You were in a chicken suit?
Yes, señor.
I once had a commercial where I had to be a human telephone. It was a great big cradle over my head and a big dial thing out in front of me.
I remember that.
And I told my agent there was no way on God's earth I'm going to do this. And then he told me what they'd pay me. And I did about, I think, 15 of them. And it was at that point I came up with my mantra for this business, which I offer to anyone that wants to use it. It's very simple. And it's this: it never says asshole on the check. Words to live by.
That's a good one. Bringing it to DADS, the show, what was the casting process like for each of you? How did you get involved with the project? Some of you had worked with the team behind it before, so how did you come to be on the show?
Who was first in? Were you first cast?
I went in and I read for the guys,
Yeah.
and then like the next day tested, and all of a sudden I was attached to a project that I knew nothing about.
And then wait, Peter, you were in, but was Martin already in before?
No, I think I got a call in February, and the agent sent the script. I knew McFarlane. I knew the guys, Alec and Wellesley, kind of, that they wrote Ted and they wrote Family Guy. And that intrigued me. I'd never done one of these. I did a pilot of a series in 1977, but I spent 3 months praying for it to fail. And I thought, this is probably not a good way to go about having a career. So in my day, when I started out, you didn't really do television. So it's kind of changed, which is good. And I just thought the elements were interesting. And it's a longer story, but eventually they said, we'll fly you out. And the negotiation went on for a weekend. You know, you have to negotiate like your life away. It's like, here's 7 years.
As if it was like the entire run of the
Yeah,
series.
I had no idea. So I had a job down at the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival on a Monday where they were going to pay me an honorarium for the 25th for the 25th anniversary, I think, of crossing Delancey. So that was $2,000 of real money, and which I could use. But eventually, they closed the deal. They didn't even have a seat for me until Monday night because it took, and I got there and tested, and it was intense. It was great.
Yeah, they liked you. That's good.
I think I was the last one, I guess. And I don't know nobody over there in the project. My agent told me it's very good. And I says, okay, let's see. And I need to pay my mortgage, And I went over there and I says, okay, whatever it is, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And I remember one of the guys, and I don't know, it's Seth MacFarlane, And he told me, Tonita, I was so sick. I got a flu at that time. And he says, Tonita, I saw you like 2 years ago in Sarah Silverman in Comedy Central. And one day I can't sleep. And he says, and I think I want to write for that lady. And I said, thank you very much. Thank you.
He didn't say that of me.
Yeah, and I don't know who was Seth MacFarlane until I saw him, and I said, ay, señor, he is.
I had some information about Seth MacFarlane that made it impossible for him not to hire me. Let's just put it that way. It was,
Me too.
It saved him a lot of money and a lot of embarrassment. No, I got it. Well, De Niro turned it down, and then the next guy you go to is usually me. So, and no, I was at a point in my life where I was torn between either a career or a hip replacement, and so I had gone with hip replacement, and then this script came across, and it was actually very funny. And I realized some of the other people in it were very funny, and Seth and Alec and Wells and everything. So I basically came out of, is it really retirement if just nobody wants you? If it is, then I came out of retirement to do this. Yeah.
That's an acting career.
Yeah.
Although you did shoot the whole pilot and any reshoots that we did on the pilot with your pre-surgery hip.
On one wheel, yeah.
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 Which was crazy.
What a trooper.
What
huh?
a trooper. Jesus, Martin. You're an inspiration.
Yeah.
So on the box set for the DVD, is it going to have a quote from you saying, like, this show is better than a hip replacement? Is that...
More necessary than a hip replacement.
Cheaper than a hip replacement.
All right.
I got a phone call. From MacFarlane. I think they were just trying to figure out who these guys were, and they asked me if I thought it was funny, and it was really funny. And then I talked to Alec and Wellesley and asked them sort of what their plan was, what they thought the show would be, what they wanted it to be, what they liked about this format, why they wanted to make it. That all sounded really good, and plus I loved everybody that was involved, so I thought I'd be dumb. I'd actually have to be a dumb person to say no.
Yeah.
So,
And we all
I don't
wanted to work with Tom Dewey. I mean, that basically, that is... I'm sorry. Just the darkest humor.
Awkward! Awkward!
Mr. Ribisi, get a comment.
Awkward!
Oh, he's a lovely man. We were delighted.
I had a similar situation. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to introduce you. I was going to say we were all delighted when Giovanni came in. Your turn.
It was, yeah.
No, similar situation with Seth. I was going off to work on the movie A Million Ways to Die in the West, and then that's when McFarlane and I started talking about doing the show, and I got the script. I didn't even know if it had been cast yet. I think, I read it and I was laughing out loud, and it was really funny. And then I found out who was involved.
And you remembered all the magic we had making that Fruit Loops commercial?
Yeah, I know. Just harkening back, playing it over again, saying the lines to myself. Yeah, sorry. That's a long time ago now. My God. So it was pretty straightforward, and it was probably just as fast as everybody else jumping on board.
It did happen. It seemed to happen really quickly, like making the pilot, and then all of a sudden it was over for months before we knew if we were going to get a pickup. So it was like, that was fun, guys,
Yeah,
I guess. So
it
what
took like
now? Just sit
5
tight?
episodes to realize I was doing a TV show.
Now, you guys are all very funny, obviously, so I'm wondering how
Thanks.
much of, shucks, how much of this, do you stick to the script mostly? Do you improvise? What is the balance between that on this show?
Well, they let us improvise, and there's a I say long, but it's like a 2-day rehearsal period before we're doing it in front of an audience. And in that time, if we discover something, if we come up with something, they're usually pretty open to it. Everybody just wants the show to be as funny and as good as it can be.
Well, it is very funny, so you're doing a good job.
Thanks.
It's also very relatable. Don't have that look. I mean, elements of it are very relatable, and more elements
giving you a look.
are.
No, that's his neutral face, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I won't. I saw nothing.
I don't even know what that means. You mean you relate to it?
Well, I mean, the relationship with your parent, there are elements of that I think are relatable to anyone at a given time, and there are some parts that I hope
Challenging
are
parents.
not. Yeah, exactly. And I hope that some elements are they're a little bit more ridiculous, but to whatever extent you want to answer this, do you personally relate to your characters and the way they interact with either the fathers, or if you have children, do you interact with your children, or is it all very much in the realm of comedy? Is that a compound question? Does that make sense?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. But
All right. Well, however you want to do it.
Sorry.
You can just say no and we'll move on.
I don't. This character is the kind of character I love to play because he's damaged for things that aren't his control, but then all of his behavior is within his control. So it's kind of great to see him struggle with the trauma that he's suffered and then try and work that out through his actions. I love playing that kind of thing, but I don't necessarily relate to it as at least not with my parents. I do fine with my parents for the most part.
Good. Anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I was. I feel like I'm with my own daughter. I'm probably more like the fathers on this show than my own father is with me. I think that I have a great relationship with my dad. But I think you said something about comedy. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a sitcom. It's situation comedy. And I think that it's really about. I mean, I think we have really talented writers who provide that, and I think that it is about comedy. It's about laughing, almost above logic, really.
No, but what I love about it, like that to me is relatable, is like Peter and Martin to me really represent the two biggest types of parenting. Like, Peter being the hard love and Martin being the, the overlover to, a child's detriment. And to me, it's like my dad is Peter and my mom is Martin. So like being able to watch, Martin. And I think,
Sorry.
and I think that's what's so great about this show. I heart you, Martin. But I think that's what's
Sorry,
great is
Martina.
being able to. Oh, I'm sorry. But I think that's what's really great is being able to, even though at the end of the day, we're just, it's 23 minutes of laughter, but I think the basis and the characters and the relationships really drive the show. And I love seeing these relationships acted out because I see Martin, my mom watched the show and went, I'm Martin. That's me. And I think that's what's so funny and so great about it is being able to find different parts of you in all of these characters.
We're going to miss Brenda. She brought a lot to the show, and it's really kind of a shame. I wish her all the luck in the world, though. I think it's great.
Vanessa's
But
now
one
pulling
thing
double
you learn
duty.
is you do not insult an older actor. You just don't do that, and some people have to learn the hard way.
We're losing her. We're losing her. Oh no. I saw you almost started to fall asleep. I'm sorry. I know it's not as entertaining as whatever you're into, Candy Crush or whatever the kids are doing right now.
The list
SpongeBob,
of
kids still
things
watching
she'd
that.
rather be doing is probably so long.
Do you want me to dance?
Wait, are you an actress or is your mom an actress? Me. You are. A lot of information coming at you really quick. I understand. Knock you back on your heels. I'm just
As far
fucking
as
with you.
playing the character,
Kidding with you. I'm sorry.
thank you, Seth. I don't know about. Do you base it on anyone?
What's that?
Do you base your dad on anyone?
No, what I love about what we do is that, every actor is different, but I don't substitute. I just go off the material. And what I thought was great about this script is the crisis between my character and Seth's character. And when I tested for Alec and Wellesley, and they were right in the room, and I just finished the test, and I thanked them for inviting me. And I said to Alec, I know having your father abandon you when you were 5 must have been hell. But as an actor, this is the greatest gift you can give me. So if you want to hire me, I'm ready to do battle. But I think these are age-old questions. Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, mothers and sons, and fathers and daughters. It's a legacy that you take with you to the grave, and it's a battle. And the best comedy is based on the deepest pain, and there's a lot of pain in this show.
It's really fun getting to explore that with you.
My father had nothing to do with this. What happened was when I got the script, it was kind of the 11th hour. I got it, I think, the morning of my meeting or something like that. And I'm not one of these people that likes to go to a reading and literally read off the page. Either you know it or you just take a meeting. But, it's a chance to do something. And so I couldn't learn it. So I said, do you mind if I basically have a rough idea who the guy is? Can I just improvise this stuff with you? And that's what my reading was. And what I took from that was I had read it enough times, not to learn it, of course, but to know that the guy was a jerk. And to me, that's just a gold dropping out of heaven if you can be a jerk. Back to my mantra, But what fun to be a jerk. And if a jerk happens to be a father, all the better. My daughter would testify to that.
Do you have any favorite moments from either on screen or in the production of the show? Was there anything really hilarious that you'd like to share, or maybe even a least favorite moment? Any great anecdotes?
I don't know. Every day is a gift.
Is that what?
Well, because I know that almost sounds glib, but the truth is that it's just good to come to work on something where you like the material, you really like the people, everybody is experienced and professional, so like the the basics are already handled, and we just get right to the hard stuff. We just get right to how to make this like micro tune in all of the best comedy, or the where to place the heartfelt emotion. Like, and everybody is so up to speed that we get right to it, and so it's incredible in that way. So I don't have a specific
Yeah, it's
anecdote,
kind of
but it
extraordinary.
really does.
I was on one show for 9 years on Roseanne, and needless to say, by the end of year 9, and they were on for 11 or something like that, everyone knew everybody else's timing, everybody knew everybody else really well, so forth and so on. We had that as a group, I think, on day 2. It's an extraordinary melding of people. You know, maybe collectively we have a room temperature IQ. That doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
We can get by.
We're
Room
all on
temperature
the
IQ, you can be president. Come on.
Guys.
Peter and I had a scene in the pilot
Not the
where
current
we are
president,
in a diner,
the previous president.
arguing over a check, and
why I
we're
never
just
go
blowing it back
political.
and forth and so on. And it called for timing that I've never had that kind of timing with someone, and I knew him all of 2 days at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's the best testament. I mean, there are so many moments where somebody has done something amazing. I just was watching Brenda rattle off the penis-vagina thing. I'm literally
Peter.
sitting there going, wow, that's really fucking good. Not that she's never good, but that's really
Yeah,
hard
you
to
can
do.
you can rattle off borderline
Yeah,
sexual
borderline whatever.
body parts anytime.
But I think every episode we're all cheering. Or not. It's not that you're cheering. It's like I want to watch them do that scene. And
I
usually I don't get to see it until late, till it's on the air or something. But
Yeah.
it's just fantastic.
No, it's great. It was like me. I couldn't wait to watch Giovanni at Janet's house. I love the flower and the faux masturbating. I couldn't, like, I was
You
like,
had
it
to
was
be
a present
there.
for me.
I don't know if you guys have seen that episode. Why did you even go? Oh, you went to go.
'Cause it was
That's
so
what it was.
funny.
So the episode is about the dads
amazing.
fighting over a girl. They both want to date the same girl, and Giovanni says, "Oh, my dad went over to this girl's house and got me a prom date when I was a teenager. I feel like I owe him that." So he goes over to her house.
Brings her
to-
flowers.
Brings her flowers to try and talk her into going on a date with his dad, and is like, can see the TV is on, so he's knocking on the door and she's not home, and so unassuming, and then realizes that the flowers have like dripped all over the crotch of his pants, and so he's trying to like dry off his pants. And then he looks up and sees her in the window. And sometimes I just like watching you do stuff because you're so funny.
I know. Well, I mean, for me, it's
Giovanni's the daredevil of the group.
Yeah, you really
No.
are. You're like the Super Dave of the
This
cast.
is to say nothing of a very rare moment in sitcom history where the camera stayed right on his face for
Like
at least
2
3
minutes.
or 4
Oh.
minutes
2
while
minutes and
he had
42
a finger
seconds.
inserted in a proctology
It
exam.
was real.
And never went away from him. And it's one of the most remarkable performances.
I
Because
go
John
deep.
was a method actor.
Here's the proctologist.
So did he.
What's funny about that moment, though,
Hello.
my favorite thing about that moment is a lot of people would go for just a comedic take of how silly can I look when this doctor gives me a proctological exam. But if you watch your face,
Stop it.
I'm not
The
going to say it. I'm going to say it.
single tear. The
No, I'm going to say it.
single tear
There is a
is-
very clear journey that you take from like the fear and the discomfort to like, oh, it's happening, to like the horror, to some weird acceptance.
And then
It's
the
actually,
tear.
yeah, and you get like real emotion, but there's also this like sort of pterodactyl, like a T-Rex hand. I'm just saying it's an amazing
Well,
performance.
no, the thing about me is, yes, G. The thing about me is I get to I love going to work every single day because these are actors that anybody can only dream of working with. I have an interview that someone found of me at like 9 years old, and they asked me who my favorite actor was, and I said Giovanni Ribisi. And I get to sit next to him every single day.
Wait,
But
when
it's
Kate,
the truth.
Well, he reminds me of your mother.
I'll tell you, one of the funniest, not one of the funniest moments, one of the scariest moments was when we did the table read for the pilot for 150 executives.
It was a packed house.
This is a serious deal. If you ever get one of these shows and they do a table read, don't underplay.
More people than network.
Don't be subtle. It's a show. Put on a show.
do not kid around.
Yeah.
You go
Kid around.
100% at your table read.
But I was sitting next to Tonita, who I'd never met. This was like day 2. And I'm sitting there, she would turn her head, they would laugh. She raised her hand, they would laugh. And at the end, I looked at her and I said, "Oh, you're a thief." And she said, "Okay." I said, you know what I mean. This is an amazingly brilliant comedian.
Woo! Tonita!
Let me tell you something. I am from Mexico, and I
Okay.
am from.
Wait a minute.
You think I'm from?
You told me that you were from Valencia.
I heard the Bronx.
You said I picked up this accent in El Segundo.
A lot of people think I fake my accent. No, it's the way I talk. No, let me tell you something. I think for the dream, the actor's dream, it's working with the right people and with the right writers. And this is the moment Tonita, Castro, and all my friends, we are enjoying. Because these guys, they are really good, and we are with a beautiful cast. And I am learning all the time. I don't talk too much in the show, not because my English is 15%, you know? I don't talk because I'm learning. And that one I want to tell you, never give up, never. If I can do it, you can do it. You know, that's the best.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's another important point to make. Not only is her timing extraordinary, but she's doing it in her second language. I mean, this is like...
That is the funniest thing is
it's
watching
impressive.
you learn lines, because they hand us stuff on tape day. We'll be filming it, we'll go through the scene once, and then they change like 7 lines and give you all different jokes to land on. And, you know, we're all pretty quick study, but you're still memorizing stuff on the fly. And I watched Tonita, and they hand her like little monologues. And then I imagine if I was living in Mexico, because I've had like 3 years of Spanish. I know some conversational Spanish. I could understand. If I had the time to like memorize my dialogue, I could probably say it like Shakespeare. You know, you say Shakespeare like it's your language, even though it's foreign language. And then I look how quick she does it, and I'm like, I'm so glad that I don't have to do that. You're sharp. It's awesome.
No, it's hard, but it's beautiful. It's learning every day. And these guys, they are not only good actors, they are the best human beings. They are really good people.
We were out rescuing kids and kittens, saving lives, shaking babies' hands, you know.
Actually, on that topic, you are all multi-talented, just outside of your acting careers. You're musicians, artists, writers. And I'm wondering how your creativity in other realms, this is a more general question, how your creativity influences your acting performance, what the relationship you think between that is, or if it's all one thing.
I don't know. Most of the actors that I know have like a really deep need to express themselves, and acting just becomes the purest outlet. Most of the actors that I know draw a little bit or paint a little bit or play a little music or need to dance or something. It's a screwed up affliction to want to choose this path. Like it's pretty damning right from the start. Like you make a deal with yourself to just get shit on for the rest of your life and career, and maybe have a few scattered glimpses of that bliss that you get when you actually get to play something and you've done a good job and people applaud, you know, but mostly it's a lot of heartache.
What we do is like contradict exactly what people tell you, like how to live a blissful, like peaceful life. We are told where to be, what to say, what to wear all day long, and then find a way to kind of make that our own.
Well, but I don't know, if you like acting, you probably can't help it. And that
You can't.
It's like the businessmen who go to S&M clubs because they need to get beat up at the end of bossing everybody around all day. I don't know. Keep going back to network and stand in front of all those guys, stone faces. Try to make them love me. What was the question?
It wasn't important.
S&M and acting, there's a thought.
Oh, creativity. No, I think a lot of actors like need to express
S&M and
themselves
creativity.
creatively in a dozen different ways. You got a lot of, right? Everybody, you got a lot in you. You got to get it out somehow.
Yeah, I think there's also sometimes all of us as actors go through a lot of downtime, and I think that it's like what you're saying, there's that creative outlet where you it's for some of us it's a hobby, some of us it's another profession, but yeah, and then you
Buying
go
a truck full of
class
camera
or
equipment.
whatever. Yeah.
Also,
Lights and cranes.
I think also the thing, I think, Martin and I could speak to this, and that is, we've been really fortunate. We've been working a long time. So I started around age 23. You were probably maybe 23, 4, something like that. In your 40s, yeah. He looked 23. And when the first day we met, we looked at each other and kind of went, how many people do you think from our generation were competing for this part? I mean, you guys go to the movies, I go to the movies, or look at television. There's not a lot of people past a certain age. It's a really bizarre part of what we do. We age out. I mean, every profession ages out. You don't want to go to a brain surgeon when they're 97, But you do know that that's part of what we do. And the great thing is, if you hang around and you get lucky, you might get a job when you're 66 or 67 or whatever our ages are. And the great thing is that it feels the same as when I started. I've had, it's almost 45 years. I would say this is as good as any job I've ever had in terms of the people that I work with. And to be able to do that, to get lucky to do it again, you really, just in case this happens to you, I don't mean at 66, I mean now, it is a cherishable thing to get a job as an actor. Just know why you're taking the job, because you don't want to become bitter about it. But this is really, to go to work to try to make people laugh, it's a cliche, but it's the truth. Any schmuck can say, where's the coffee? It's really hard to say, where's the coffee, and make people laugh. And these people are really, that's the challenge of the material, I think. And anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but it's an amazing, amazing thing to get a job as an actor.
Any role, any size,
All right.
any job, any show.
Anyone else want to pitch in on creativity?
Well, I went to art school for six years.
Has anybody seen Martin's paintings, by the
Oh
way?
my
Yeah.
God,
Because if you haven't, you
amazing.
should get educated. It's kind of mind-blowing.
And I have always considered that, for me, job one. I've been a painter, and everything, I played guitar during the folk music scare of the 60s. Like everybody else, had my hair down to my ass and played, and so all of this has always been a way of putting paint into my studio. But every now and then, some of these acting jobs, and I don't want to sound ungrateful, because I'm extremely grateful for anything that comes my way in that respect, but occasionally some of them are just like jewels. And where it works out so nicely for me is when I'm in the studio painting, it is, by design, an extremely lonely enterprise. I mean, you are really judge and jury, and you are it. There's no one there, and after a while, it starts to be kind of like, wow, is there a sound in this forest? And then you can come over here where the forest is actually cacophonous, and so you get all you want of human beings until you get sick of that, and you can see how that would happen. And then you get to go back to the studio and have that solitary time. So one really becomes a therapist for the other. It's a wonderful arrangement.
I was working the radio over here in Los Angeles, Spanish broadcasting, for 16 years. I love to read, I love to write, and I write it, all the time. I have like 2 books already. I did it with the natural recipes and all that kind of things. And it's good for me, it's like therapy. And now I am doing the clothes line
Yeah, don't you
class,
make dresses too?
and it's very good to
She's wearing one right
design.
now.
Yeah.
One of your dresses.
Take a
Tonita?
good look. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tonita.
Yeah, because, a lot of people think because we are a little overweight, we are still not woman. I am still a woman. And
Yes!
sexy.
Woo!
And sexy.
Ow!
That's... I thought there was something on a dress.
I don't pay nothing.
No,
No, that means
on occasion, somewhere in every episode, Tonita and I, as Edna and David, are fighting with each other. And the note they give is, Edna chases David into the room, yelling at him in Spanish. Now, this is a very trusting group, because no one's ever asked Tonita, what is she actually saying? Well, she told me the last episode, you tell me if I got it wrong, but the translation in Spanish was, you're so ugly that when you were born, your mother didn't give you her breast, she gave you her back. And she said, and Tonita said, do you think they'll let me say that? I said, they don't have it, they've just given you carte blanche to say anything you want. So the audience,
As long as nobody hears the word fox in the middle of it.
But the greatest thing was, there, you know, the handful or 50, whoever number of Hispanic-speaking people in the audience were laughing way before the white people were. And I was just sitting there going, this is just so much fun. But she does, I mean, she's too much. Okay.
Actually, this is a good segue. We're going to do a couple audience questions that you guys submitted.
No,
and
I got it.
the first one is a question from David T, and this one's for Edna. And I was actually curious about this. Do you do your own stunts?
Is that David T?
Yep.
What's up, man? Are you a stunt guy? No, I'm not a stunt guy. Just curious about it.
Oh, me too. So
Yes.
good.
There's a well, what episode was this? The Christmas
Well, there's
episode?
a couple where she, runs and jumps over things, and she is hiding from immigration.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
the first one, yes. The second one, not. No, it's too much for me. But the first one, yeah, I try and it's good. The first one or third, and then they say no. We need to stand.
Well, because they got a girl like on an air ramp, and she was like horizontal, like 4 or 5 feet in the air, and then just dropped straight down behind the sofa. And they were like, "We're not going to put Tonita through that." But it is hilarious.
I try it, but I don't think so. It's good.
This is a question for the whole cast from Victor. Right here.
What's up, Victor?
Front and side.
Don't be jealous, guys. Just because we're talking to Victor.
Yeah, talk to him. Gracias.
Victor wanted to know what you would have done differently if you weren't an actor.
I mean, I probably would have suffered a lot more in high school and never left Philadelphia and just cried all the time. Maybe figured out a way to sell art, but probably just would have continued to get my ass kicked by people that didn't understand me. Chances are.
I think I would have been a psychologist. I took that in college. I love human behavior, and that's probably why I'm an actress. I love how the human brain works. So probably a psychologist or like a chef, maybe.
Those two are so
Same thing,
far,
same thing, same
so
thing.
far from each other.
I can dream.
You can still cook, you know.
I do.
Great.
I'm probably a musician. I play guitar a little bit. And
What kind of music would you play?
I don't know. What was folk music? I think I don't know.
So you guys could join forces?
No.
Be a bluegrass star.
Bluegrass,
Rockabilly.
bluegrass probably.
I'll be your upright bass guy.
I don't know.
I probably would get in the healthcare business. I understand that's really booming right about now. I think there's a lot of future there, and probably make some pretty good money.
So many things I'm going to add. I'm not going to add any of that. Do you have an answer besides acting?
You know, I never found anything that I wanted to do. I went to college.
Unemployed?
I went to college because everybody went to college. I was lucky. I was at the University of Buffalo. They had one of the best English departments at the time. I was a dreamer, you know. I was lucky. My parents were taking me to the theater and rodeos and circuses since I was 3, 4, 5. But there was nobody in the family who could say to me, you know, or to my folks, you know, Peter has some kind of skills here in terms of mimicry or whatever, because that's what I remember doing. but I never thought of it as a profession. And I had, I have no idea what I would do. I really have no idea. My father said, if you're lucky, you'll find something you'll have to do.
And were you lucky?
I got really lucky, absolutely, yeah.
That's great.
I think I still in the radio because I love people, really. When I see the people, I don't know, I feel like my heart is full in love, I don't know. But it's, I love people. Or maybe a porno actress.
Because she loves people.
Good night, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cast of DADS.
Again?
Martina.
Tonita, if your sex tape ever makes it like out of the vault, you're gonna be bigger than Kim K.
Here we have a question from Christopher. This is for,
Hey, buddy.
This is for Giovanni.
Whatever.
Sorry.
Fine, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool, Christopher.
No, you can
Hope you guys enjoy your question.
You can answer it.
No, you enjoy your time. That's cool.
This, we could ask if you want to jump in afterwards.
No, Christopher singled him out. He should get what he wants. That's awesome. I'll just be over here tweeting how disappointed I am in Christopher. Came to the SAG conversations hoping Christopher would want to know my opinion, but clearly he doesn't have any interest in me. And send.
Giovanni, who has been your most
Say sorry.
who has been your most inspirational guide on your journey as an actor?
Personally, or just anybody?
How
Personally, or anybody? I don't know. I don't know. I
work with a lot of awesome
cliche and I don't know. I think you try to draw inspiration from anything, but actors that I like, when I was 16 years old, I saw A Streetcar Named Desire, the film, and I was blown away. And I think that's when I really decided to try to become an actor. I'd been acting in other things as a child actor, but then that's when I decided to study acting. And I think, directors, Elia Kazan I'm a big fan of, and Steven Spielberg, and a lot of the French films from the 50s and 60s. I don't know. I mean, I could go on. We get an hour conversation.
No, you listed a lot of things. I think Christopher's, he's happy. He looks happy. Actually, do you mind, can we expand that? Does anyone else have an answer for some, I don't want,
You got another thing to tweet now.
I don't need your charity, Cheyenne, honestly.
Well,
I think Christopher got what he wanted. We can just move on.
Actually, Christopher had another question, but this one's for Brenda.
Oh, he's got a twofer. I'm sure no one else here had a question, Christopher.
Brenda, Christopher wanted to know, how did your team, your PR manager, agent, how did they help you attain the awesome, he said adult roles, but I think, post-Disney roles is what he meant, after your time on Disney? Like, how have you done that career segue?
Honestly, I get asked that question a lot, and the honest truth is, it's just about making good decisions as a human being. I feel like your career reflects what you're going through in your life. Like my time on Disney, I loved it, and I'm so thankful for them because I grew up in a place where I felt so incredibly safe, and I knew I was going to work and being in a really safe environment. And then I just grew up, and I think it's just about finding roles that you can relate to, because I feel like we can act all day, but to really draw inspiration, you have to understand what this person is going through. And I just took a little bit of time to find out who Brenda is and what she wanted. And I was fortunate enough to have opportunities where these roles came about where I really gravitated for them and I really understood what they were going through, and I was able to express that. It's really, it wasn't anything crazy. It was, I just have a really great team who, you know, and a family who tell me no and tell me when I'm being crazy and, you know, when I'm doing things that are inappropriate. I just think it's really important to just stay grounded and true to who you are, and I think that reflects in your career, hopefully.
People, I think because the child actor axiom is so familiar to people, as much as like VH1's Behind the Music, you sort of have this expectation of kids who act to find success and then fall on a dark path. But the truth is, that's up to the person, and that's up to their surroundings, and that's up to all of their influences. And especially all the kids that I've met who come out of Disney, those kids are trained to be professionals. They're all really sharp. They know how to hit their marks and be on time and respect all of the people that they're working with and recognize that no matter who you are in the grand scheme of things on set, you're not the most important person on the set. It's all part of a team. Every kid that I've met who's come out of the Disney organization, regardless of their parents or influences or whatever, they're trained and skilled to be performers. So.
All right, we have, this one is another one for Brenda, but we can expand it if someone else.
Oh, no, we love Brenda. She
No.
can talk all she wants.
Well, I asked
I'm
them.
quite
I
interested in hearing what she has
didn't
to
write
say.
this is a question from Duncan. And
Where's he at?
right here.
What's up, buddy? I'm gonna let it slide because it's about her.
Duncan wants to know if, Brenda, there was any crossroads, challenge, or circumstance that you feel made a positive difference in your career.
Well, you know, being a 25-year-old Asian American actress in Hollywood is an obstacle in itself, and especially acting at a really young age, being, you know, 6, 7 years old, and being the only girl that wasn't blonde hair and blue-eyed, you learned rejection really quickly, and you started to understand that nothing was personal, that this is just a business, that sometimes when you walk in the room, you may be the funniest person in the room, but you're just not what they're looking for. So it really, really taught me perspective, and it really taught me to stay strong to who I was and to really believe that this is what I wanted to do, and, you know, I was gonna really try hard, even if I wasn't right for it. Like, this is what I love to do. I wake up and I eat and I breathe and I love it. And I think that was probably the hardest thing, especially when I was younger, just doing something that people didn't understand, like going to school and, you know, kids making fun of you because they didn't understand what you were doing. But I loved it so much. I mean, so I think it's just learning to stay true to yourself and to know that if this is what you want to do, you have to push through all that, because people are always going to tell you no matter what you do, whether you want to be a doctor or a teacher or an actor or the president, someone's going to tell you no, and you just have to stay true to who you are and work really hard, because I think that's all that matters.
Well, especially as an actor, you will get 97% no, and
98.
3% yes, 2% yes,
Yeah.
and it's really just about you just keep swinging.
Yeah.
All right, we're almost to my last question, but I'm just curious. The show's called DADS. Do we get to meet the moms?
We've asked the same question. We were just
I've
talking.
been wondering about that.
You don't? Okay, all right.
No, I mean, we've
I
all
mean, you
had
can-
that conversation, but it hasn't really it just hasn't
5
been
episodes.
discussed.
Okay. I was just curious if I had that to look
It's
forward
an
to.
awesome stunt casting opportunity, though.
Yeah.
That's what we keep thinking.
And then for our,
Brenda's right, I'm my own wife.
You love my mommy, Martin.
so for our last question, just a general one, keeping our audience in mind, what is the best advice you have for actors, for people looking to get into the industry or at any stage of the industry? What words of wisdom do you have to impart?
Something that occurred to me many, many years ago was I was thinking about a Broadway play. And I remember I actually went to one. The lead, I think it was My Fair Lady, and Rex Harrison was ill that night. And they said, ladies and gentlemen, instead of Rex Harrison, such and such, be played by Roy Biffsplick tonight. And Roy Biffsplick came out and did it, whoever he was. And I thought,
Was it Roy Bispluck tonight?
well, it was Roy Biffsplick. Anyway, it occurred to me that at the same time, or shortly before that, the Marx Brothers used to be on Broadway too. They would have a play. If Groucho got sick, ladies and gentlemen, we're dark tonight. There was nobody to come out and do Groucho. There was no way. So that it occurred to me that what you have to do, what would be great to do, is to be something that is maybe not necessarily that great, but so irreplaceable, so uniquely one thing that we know we want Duncan for this. We know that. Because Duncan's the only one that can do Duncan. And if we can't get Duncan, we can't do it. And that is a kind of a nice way to approach it. Because even though you get Duncan, you tell Duncan, now we want you to play this sailor, you know, but still, you're starting there. And I think that's a good way to look at it.
I think the other thing is that you never know who's in the audience. You never know who's watching you. So even though the cliche is there are no small parts, you kind of have to just, every time you're lucky enough to get a job, do it as if you are the star or the lead. The fact that you're not doesn't matter, because by the time you do get the lead, you'll feel comfortable being the lead. You just never know who's in the audience, and don't underestimate how much luck is involved. So much of this you just have no control over. I resisted that for as long as I could until I realized I was lucky, you know? And I hung around, and I was lucky when I was younger and lucky in different decades, and I got lucky again. But, you know, you just never know.
And don't give up, really. It's easy to say, oh, no more. No, this life, I say it like that. The life is a risk. If you don't take the risk, it's like you don't live. You need to take whatever is coming. If somebody told me I'm going to do this 8 years ago, I don't believe it. But now I'm here because I take the risk. And if you take it, something good is coming. And one door is closed, 10 is open. Or maybe a little window with faith and hope. I feel like that.
And a porno career.
It's on the side.
You know, everyone's harping on the don't quit, which is really what it's all about. That's the only really way to succeed. But I'll share this with you. It's twofold. One, don't be embarrassed to be special. Don't be afraid of saying, I know how to do this. I'm going to try harder. And it doesn't mean that you're the only one who can do it that way, but if you're willing to put yourself out there, other people will be willing to do the same thing around you, you know, and just by being your best thing, by being Groucho, being willing to be that, but also being willing to be humble enough to say one line and not overtake every scene that you're in, be a team player. But, you know, I remember just like feeling embarrassed at applause if you've done a good job at the end of a play. And I was working on a play, and I was so like awkward. I was a teenager, but I was really, really awkward. And the applause came, and I wrestled with what that meant to take the applause. Am I an egomaniac? If I so, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, I know. And I felt so fucking awkward about it. And the play was with Dan Florek, who's an actor, been on a bunch of TV and a bunch of features. And he said to me, that applause at the end of a play isn't about you. That's about the audience and what they have experienced with you. That's the only way they know how to express it. That's the exchange that we have allocated and said, this works. You feel something with the person who does the play, you let them know with applause. They do a special trick or a flip or whatever, you get the applause. And so you just take that. You take that not because you're so special, but because you're giving the audience that release. And in the same, don't be afraid to be special. Oh, thank you. I know. Thank you.
Yeah, fuck you. Thank you. Sorry. Fuck, thanks.
No, never need it. Never need it. That's the thing. Never need it. Never need the applause. Just do it. Just do it because you love to do it.
I don't know. No, I would definitely say persistence is, you know, I think that when you ask the question, what else would I would have done? I've been asked that question before, and it's always difficult for me because there really became a certain point where there was nothing else that I would have done, and I also think that I had a friend who was a director, and he was he's no longer around, but I knew him for 15 years, and he said, you know, he would talk about seeking out and really looking for the masters, you know, the people that are actually exquisite at, you know, what we do, making movies and acting and directing and whatever it is. And I remember even talking to Kate Blanchett about that, about really truly not just enjoying what is fine, but searching it out and understanding it. And I think that's really important. I think that we're so enmeshed with mediocrity that we start calling that brilliance, you know. And I don't. I think that it sort of lowers the standard a little bit. And then also I think that I also think that it's actually it's a lot of hard work. I think that you know, if you any one of us up here, I think that I mean I remember being in a class, going to 3 rehearsals a day, or working on 3 different scenes in the class a week, doing a TV show, and then doing like 3 auditions a day. And I remember knowing that I did, and I know that I did that, and I remember thinking that, and I can't even imagine doing that nowadays. But it was all I did.
No substitute for actual hard work.
And I breathe, and I had. There was definitely a moment where I had $7 to my name, and my friend had to make a car payment, and I think we all have stories like that. But you know, I mean, if you talk to just Martin, for instance, you know, 25 years on the road, right, or something to that effect. 20 years. 20 years. I mean, that's incredibly difficult, hard work.
The road giveth and the road taketh away.
Yeah. And you know, it's almost like that's so important. I think I've seen a lot of people sit around and complain about or wonder why they're not working, and it was always this guy that I was just mentioning. He's always saying that, you know, if you want to work, you should just work. You should just work.
Yeah, I think that's right on. And also, the other tricky thing is, you know, it's really easy to be offended the way we're treated. You know, I mean, all of us can tell you stories. All of you can tell us
Actors are a
stories.
naturally sensitive bunch.
Yeah. No, I mean, you get some brutal treatment. If you're doing it right, there's going to be some brutal treatment in your life. So a lot of this is negotiating and figuring out how do you get what you need to do your job. I'm not in. And I think that if you're going to go on an audition, don't be angry that you have to go on an audition. Nobody wants to go on an audition. You're not wrong to hate auditioning. Nobody likes auditioning.
I
And
do.
sometimes you get an audition. Nobody likes to go on an audition. You know, sometimes you may be offered a part, or sometimes you have a meeting for a part. But it's going to be hard. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're angry at the people who are giving you the audition. It's tempting to do it because in your heart you believe, don't they know who I am? They should hire me.
Haven't I, after all this time,
Yeah.
just earned a little bit
I'm
of
walking
like...
and breathing, they should just hire me. So it's all a negotiation. Don't think that off Broadway is better than Broadway. Don't think that New York is better than California. The opportunities come where they may. And eventually it's a negotiation. I had an agent. His name was Eddie Bookham Dead or Alive Bondi. He was
I
called
want that
Bookham.
agent.
He got that name because he once got a woman who'd been dead 6 months, the most money she'd ever been offered. And that's the kind of agent I always thought I wanted.
God.
And when I got
Took me a
What do you
minute.
mean we paid a corpse?
yeah. Oh, he was pissed off that she was dead, let me tell you.
And how did she audition?
No, she actually got the job. It's a longer story. Anyway, she's died. So Eddie was my agent. when I got Animal House. And I had just done a play in New York City. Oh, thank you. I just done a play in New York City by this new kid from Chicago named David Mamet. The play was called Sexual Perversity in Chicago. It was down in the Village. I was making $110 a week. Now I get Animal House, and they're offering me $1,000 a week. So I said to Eddie, $1,000, shouldn't I? I'm like one of the leading guys. Shouldn't I make a lot of money? And he said, yes, you should make a lot of money, but you're not going to make a lot of money on this. And I said, why not? He said, you've never done a movie. I have nothing to negotiate. I said, but Eddie, I've been doing the theater, and I've been in the theater, and 8 months I've been doing the theater, and look at all this theater I'm doing. He said, Peter, this is Hollywood. In Hollywood, the theater is where they show the movies. So be a good negotiator.
Right, and last but not least, Brenda, do you have any advice?
Well, I think for me, the reason why I say I love auditioning was because I didn't have a lot of opportunities. Auditions for me were like work. Like, that's the way I looked at it. When auditions came along, most of the time they were never looking for me. They still aren't. It's really hard to find something, where they're like 25-year-old Asian, whatever. And so for me, I took every opportunity as a job, and that to me what was so much fun. And I think we forget, in all this hard work and all this persistence and all of this, that at the end of the day, if it's not fun, it's not worth it anymore. Because even though our pros are amazing, the rewards that we reap are astounding. But at the same time, we have to give up a lot of who we are to do what we do. And especially in today's world with technology and, and the social media, there's a whole nother aspect of it that to me wasn't even around when I was acting when I was younger at all. It's crazy.
Last 5 years, let alone the last 10. It's crazy.
And so you just have to remember that no job is ever too small. To take every opportunity and to really be thorough. This is what I love to do, and it doesn't matter if, like he said, you have one line or you're the lead in the entire movie. It's about finding something that you love and finding love in that role, and that's what I feel like has really pushed me through the harder times, when you're not working and these auditions are coming and you feel, you're such at low points because you feel like nothing's ever going to happen. It's about looking at the upside and remembering that this is what we love to do. People always ask me, what's your dream role? And I'm like, then you're taking away the best part of my job, is getting sides and going, how can I make myself this person, or how can I find something in me to make this person real? That's that's my favorite part of my job. And that's what that's my advice to give you, is just to, no matter how small or how big, to find the love and to find the passion, to find the inspiration in every role to keep you going.
All right, well,
And you know what is the most beautiful thing about the actors? We don't have too much money. But it's beautiful, because that way we're working hard and we do things that a lot of people, they don't do it. But let me tell you something, when you got the money, save it. Because if not, you are going to have porno on the side.
all right.
No, but it's really, thank you very much for your support. Thank you.
You learned a lot. You learned a lot tonight,
On
right?
that note, all right. All right. Well, a special thank you to everyone that came on our panel today and everyone who's in the audience tonight. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.